Unit 1. Periodicity of elements and their properties. Lesson 4. Water. What are the sources of water? Water areas such as rivers, oceans, and seas, rains, wells, and springs. Importance of water internationally. Water is used internationally in three fields, which are personal fields, industrial fields, and finally, agriculture fields. We can conclude from the previous graph that the main fields in consuming water internationally are agriculture fields, which represent the largest percentage in consuming water, as you can see from this graph, industrial fields, which is represented by blue bars, and finally, personal fields, which are represented by green bars, which represent the lowest percentage in consuming water. Also, we can conclude the following from the previous graph. Asia is the largest continent in consuming water in agriculture. Europe is the largest continent in consuming water in industry. North America is the largest continent in consuming water for personal uses. Finally, Africa is classified as agriculture continent. What is the structure of water? Water molecule is formed from one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms, H2O, combined by two single covalent bonds. These two lines represent the two single covalent bonds between oxygen and hydrogen. As you can see from this video, this is the hydrogen molecule. When it combines with one oxygen molecule, we have one water molecule, H2O. The angle between the two covalent bonds is 104.5 degrees. The electronegativity of oxygen is higher than that for hydrogen, as you can see from this video. This electron is kept for a longer time around oxygen than the time taken around hydrogen. So water molecules are linked together by hydrogen bonds. As you can see, this is a water molecule. Oxygen, which is represented by this blue sphere, is negatively charged, which is attracted to the hydrogen, which has a positive charge by a hydrogen bond. This hydrogen bond is too weak, so it can be broken and formed continuously, as you can see. And it is represented by electrostatic attraction between positive and negative charges. And you will see that hydrogen bond is responsible for all abnormal properties of water. What's meant by hydrogen bond? It is a weak electrostatic attraction force that arises between the molecules of polar compounds. And we know that water is a polar compound. Note the following. Hydrogen bond is weaker than covalent bond. This is the reason why single covalent bond is represented by a solid line, while hydrogen bond is represented by dotted line, because hydrogen bond is weaker than covalent bond. Also, hydrogen bond is responsible for the abnormal properties of water. We will see that the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius and its freezing point is 0. This is a very large range. The reason for this abnormal property is the presence of hydrogen bond. Properties of water. Properties of water are divided into physical properties, and chemical properties. Physical properties of water, we will study the following properties. Water exists in three states. Water is a good polar solvent. Pure water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Water density decreases on freezing. Water has high latent heat. And finally, water has high specific heat. Chemical properties of water. Weakness of water ionization. Water has neutral effect on litmus paper. And finally, resistance of water to decomposition. First, let's talk about physical properties of water. The first property is water exists in three states. As you can see, water exists in the solid state, which is called ice, in liquid state, and it is called water, in gaseous state, it is called water vapor. Water is a good polar solvent. This is because it has a great ability to dissolve most ionic compounds such as table salt and some covalent compounds such as sugar. This is because it can form hydrogen bonds with water. If we have a piece of salt dissolved in water, as you can see, salt crystals can form hydrogen bonds with water molecules, so salt will dissolve in water because it can form hydrogen bonds. While some covalent compounds such as oil can't dissolve in water. This is because oil can't form hydrogen bonds with water. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. This is due to the presence of hydrogen bonds between its molecules. Because water has hydrogen bonds, this is the reason for this huge difference between its boiling and melting points. Water density decreases on freezing. This is because when the temperature of water decreases than 4 degrees Celsius, water molecules form ice crystals, which have hexagonal shape, large volume, and large number of spaces between them. As you can see, if we have a water molecule, you can see that hydrogen bond will be formed between each two successive water molecules. This will form ice crystals, which have hexagonal shape, as you can see, 6 sides. Ice crystals have large volume, so they have low density, so ice will float on water surface. Give reason 4. Although water of oceans freezes at polar zones, the aquatic creatures are still alive. This is because when the temperature of water decreases than 4 degrees Celsius, it forms a layer of ice, which floats on the water surface. And this provides the creatures with the chance to stay alive. As you can see, a layer of ice is formed, which protects the living organisms from this extreme cold weather. Water has high latent heat. Water has high latent heat, so it resists the change from a state to another. This is the reason why water is used to put off fires, because it consumes a large amount of heat of combustion media during its vaporization process. What's meant by latent heat of fusion or latent heat of melting? It is the amount of heat energy needed to change 1 kilogram of ice from solid state to liquid state without changing its temperature. This solid ice will change into liquid water at the same temperature, which is 0 degree Celsius. What's meant by latent heat of vaporization? It is the amount of heat energy needed to change 1 kilogram of water from liquid state to the vapor state without it changing its temperature. As you can see, all these water will change from liquid water into gaseous water at 100 degrees Celsius without it changing its temperature. Also, water has high specific heat. The specific heat of water is very large, so water can absorb or lose large amount of heat without changing its temperature. This is the reason why the temperature of the human body doesn't change by changing the atmospheric temperature. The human body's temperature is constant at 37 degrees Celsius.